Going over your husband's head and going to church despite him telling you he doesn't want to go and doesn't want you to go is not submission. And it's not your free pass to do whatever you want because it's church. I know we like to think that the authority of your husband is the church and is the pastor at the church. And that's not it. His authority is God. And he has to answer to God, not your pastor and not you. So if you claim to be a submissive woman and you feel like that you get to disrespect him and go behind his back or do exactly what he told you not to do because it's church, you're out of order and it's disobedient to Christ. Yes, church is good. It is good to go to church, but it is not a sin to not go to church. And if God wanted you to be there, I promise you, God will make a way for that to happen. God will speak to your husband or change his heart. But until then, you obey your husband. Same things with these retreats and being in ministry or whatever. If your husband is saying, I know you have this obligation to the church because you're cleaning the bathrooms or you're doing some type of ministry, Bible study, whatever, and you've committed yourself to this, and he's saying, but I need you home today. You can't go today. Or I don't like this and I don't want you to do it. You obey him. Because if it was from God, God will go through your husband. And if he is being disobedient to God, knowing that's what you're supposed to do, but I don't know, whatever it is, that he's allowing the enemy to use him or he's jealous or whatever, it is not your job to go over his head. You still obey God. And by obeying God, you obey your husband. When you take God's word to be true, you don't live in fear and you don't disobey what his word says. You trust that God has your back, especially if I'm doing what God called me to do, and that is to obey and submit to my husband in all things. I can't count the many times that my husband told me he didn't want me to do a certain thing that I thought was good, which was in my mind was good. It was good. It was going to help someone. It was going to be ministry or whatever it may have been. And then later on, God reveals to me that he used my husband to protect me from failure. He protected me from rejection. He protected me from being mishandled. He protected our marriage because there were people around or spirits around or whatever that would have infiltrated us. God uses everything for our benefit. Maybe it was to protect us. And even our husband didn't know that he was being used to protect us. I'm telling you, I've witnessed this happen in my own marriage. So let's not lean on our own understanding and trust what God said and obey our husbands. When we do that, God is in control, not your husband. We give our husbands control so God can be in control.